Okay, so today I'm doing a video all about how to clean your brushes. When we worked in makeup, whenever I sold a brush, I had to explain to them how to clean it because a lot of people don't realize A, that you need to, and B, how to do it. Because it's kind of something that people, when they clean something, they want to clean it vigorously. And brushes, you really don't need to. I always recommend the Sigma brand brushes. These are the ones that I use myself. I love them. Mine are incredibly dirty right now though, so I will just show you, before we get started, a few little tips and tricks to doing it. Basically, you never want to be firmer on the bristles when you're washing them than you are when you're using them on your face. So motions like this, pulling out the cleanser, you'll see what I mean. I'll show you all of this. They're very dirty right now. Just so long as you're not being any firmer on them than when you were using them on your face. The other thing is, never put water or product into them that way, because once it gets into this part, the ferrule, it will start basically breaking down the glue that holds the brushes and the ferrule all together. So always wash and rinse them this way, and gentle enough that you're only as strong as you would if you were using it on your face. That makes sense, right? I'm not confusing you guys, I really hope not. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so we're in the bathroom now. I'm sorry if it echoes. First of all, I'm gonna let you know I am using the Garnier Micellar, I don't know. It's a cleansing water all-in-one. This is what I'm going to be using to take the makeup out of my brushes. And it's going to be a very simple tutorial just to show you how to do it basically. And then a few little tips and tricks for what you can do if you have more, like if you want to do a deep clean, all that stuff. Okay, so let's get started. So we'll start with my foundation brush. This is the Sigma Round Top Kabuki, as you guys should know. It's the brush that I use all the time. I'm gonna use my hand as like a cup, and I'm going to pour some of this stuff into my hand. I'm gonna grab my brush, dip it in there, and swirl it around rather gently. And then once it's wet, it will kind of do a little bit better, and I'm just gonna swirl it around, and then what I'm going to do is squeeze out any excess, and it'll look kind of like that, and rinse it off. Alright, so with the foundation brushes and the powder brushes, you may find that you need to do it a few more times than one, and I like to use something to wipe my brushes off with. So getting a tissue and wiping them off just to make sure that you're getting all the product. A tissue may be a little bit too flimsy, so something like kitchen towelette or toilet paper even sometimes works really well. You can see it's getting pretty much all of it. Now one of the harder things to do is to get the bristles that are in the middle. Ooh. And what you do for that is use your finger to kind of open it up and then get the product in your hand again, and then kind of push it right in that way. What I'm basically doing here is just massaging the brush to get all the cleaning product out. Change of angle, guys, so that I can show you properly. So that's basically all I'm doing, and you can see it is starting to clean up already. And basically just keep doing that until it is as clean as you want it to be. And then when it comes to drying them, you do want to make sure that you dry them flat, and preferably on a towel or a paper towel. Paper towels are more hygienic than normal towels. Another trick, if you're finding it very difficult to get product out, is to use a mixture of your makeup remover and a little bit of just hand soap, and then mix the two together with the brush. And then in order to get a good lather, you may want to add some water, not much, and then it should lather up, but because there is a lot of oil in my brush specifically, it won't lather for a while. So much product. You can also use shampoo or baby shampoo is a good one as well. That's what I used to use. But with all the times that I've moved these days, I have no idea where it is. Alright, now when it comes to rinsing your brush, again, you want to make sure that you aren't getting any water into the ferrule. So just rinsing it downwards and then very carefully pulling the product out. And you can massage it like so to get the product out of the inner bristles. But you do want to be really careful about the way you're getting product in and out. So that's basically what I'm doing. Alright, so I'm going to be using a little bit of Daddy-O shampoo. This is just my shampoo. Tiniest little bit, guys. Don't need much for one brush. And then foaming it up. So tiny little circles. You don't want to be too rough, like I was saying before. And you might want to wet your hand a little bit, wet the brush. Circles, just as if you were applying your foundation to your hand. Another good tip is if you don't want to do a deep clean and you just want to get rid of just a little bit of product from using it once or twice, using your makeup remover or makeup removal wipes or alcohol spray is another way of doing it. Just in between uses is how you can keep your brushes hygienic. I recommend doing a deep clean like this at least every month, depending on how often you're using your brushes. I would say a month is a good amount of time to leave in between cleaning your brushes rather. I'm sure you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm rinsing it off and then foaming it up just to make sure that I am indeed getting all the product out of the brush. So when you're rinsing, you can use your hand to make sure that you're getting it into the bristles, but I wouldn't do anything else to make sure that you're getting into the bristles. Now sometimes, depending on what you're using, you will find that the bristles will stain. I personally have stained mine in the past, so they look yellow, they look still dirty, but you can always kind of feel them and check. Mine are kind of still dirty. Still dirty. And then of course when you use the product and you squeeze it out, you can check whether it's getting any product out of it. And then when the brush rinses clear, then you know that it's clean. Kind of like when you dye your hair. Still got product in it, then it'll rinse with the product. That makes sense. I'm sure that makes sense. Yay, it's almost clean. It's so nearly clean, it's not funny. Yay. So ready to help clean brush again. Yep, not getting any more product out, which is amazing. I might wash it one more time just to be absolutely certain, because there's a little bit of a foundation-y tint to the product rinsing out. Now you never want to use anything harsher than a body wash or a shampoo, sorry. Generally I would say only use alcohol spray once a day for a week or so. And then when you do your deep clean, don't use anything too harsh. So as you can see here, the product is foaming up clear, which means there's really nothing left to get out of the brush. It means it's clean. As for replacing your brushes, how often you should replace them or how often you should buy new ones. It's a tricky one. I would always say have 2 of the same brush on hand, just so that when you're cleaning one, the other one's fresh. But you shouldn't really need to replace brushes. If you buy good quality brushes like the Sigma ones that I use, you shouldn't ever need to replace them. But you can, like, it is always a good idea to have more than one so that you can clean one. So as I was saying, once you can't get any product out of it anymore, so foundation or eyeshadow or shampoo even, then just lie it down on a paper towel, flat, give it a quick squeeze out to make sure it's not dripping wet. These ones are tricky because they're quite short bristled. And you can always rinse them again if need be. That's one brush done. And now we'll move on to powder brush. Exactly the same deal. This time I'm going to rinse it first because we are using shampoo instead of the makeup remover that I initially wanted to use. So just rinse it very delicately. You guys can see I'm just kind of patting it, getting all the bristles nice and wet. And then I'm going to put the shampoo in my hand, and then this time it will froth up a lot more because the bristles are longer. But then when it rinses out, you can see it's a rather murky, dirty brown. Yeah, you guys can see the water that is getting rinsed is murky, to say the least. When you wash brushes, you may find that you get a little bit of fallout with the bristles. You may find a few come loose. It's really nothing to worry about unless it's like huge handfuls, in which case contact the person you bought your brushes off because it's normally faulty. Also, if you want to prevent this, a good way to do so is by actually washing them before you use them, just to make sure that any bristles that do come off before you use them. Yeah, washing your brushes is the best way to prevent that from being a problem during makeup application, basically. And Sigma has a new product that I do actually really want to get called the Dry and Shape. And I'll leave a link to that down below for you guys because it makes the drying time like a quarter of the time it normally is. And it also means that your brushes come out in the shape that they're meant to as well. So, because if you've ever washed your brushes before, you may notice sometimes the shape is lost in some brushes. The Dry and Shape basically holds your brushes so that the bristles all go the same way. They all do the thing that they're meant to, which, yeah, is a really good idea. That one is clean now. Big fluffy powder brushes and big fluffy brushes in general generally clean a lot easier than others. But here's my tapered highlighter, same deal. This one will clean in no time. Also, as far as temperature goes for your water temperature, lukewarm is generally what they recommend. So at the moment, my cold tap is just fine. I wouldn't recommend using your hot tap. This is my Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush, which I actually don't agree with it being a crease brush, but this is a synthetic brush that I use for eyeshadows sometimes. Same deal. Sometimes if I've got too much product in the center of my hand, I will pick up a little bit and then brush it out and clean it out on the clean part of my hand. And because that one's only been used for shadows and powder, it's clean. Easy. With these Real Technique brushes, the ferrule is the big long purple thing. Try to avoid getting water up here on the handle and then again in the ferrule. Alright, so that one's clean. I'm going to save the hardest for last. This is my Manicure Artiste rounded smudge. Just a tiny little bit of product. And then it goes instantly black. Woohoo! I mainly use it for black eyeshadows. Or dark eyeshadows. But that's clean now, I'd say. Eyeshadow brushes you don't have to spend too much time on. They're normally pretty much fine. Next, we have a similar brush that I got from college. This one's a little bit fluffier. Okay, now here is a tricky one. This is a double-ended brush. We've got an eye shading and a blending. This is a Sigma brush. The trick to this is you want to clean one side first, wait for it to dry, and then you can go to the next side. Because if you wash this side and then instantly go on to the next side, you're going to get water into the ferrule of the brush that you're cleaning first. So I hope that made sense. Just treat it as two separate brushes, but you have to clean them at different times. So that's the basics, guys. I'm gonna go somewhere where I can actually talk to you. Okay guys, so to sum it all up for you, basically I just taught you 3 different methods of washing your brushes. The first is the dry method using makeup remover. Basically you put the makeup remover in your hand, you swirl your brush in it, and then you wipe it off on a paper towel until it wipes clean. The other method that is dry is using an alcohol spray. You spray the brush on a tissue, wipe off the excess, and then leave it to dry. With alcohol it dries a hell of a lot quicker though, so you don't really need to leave it to dry because alcohol evaporates into the air. And the last and my favourite method is to use a shampoo. I personally prefer using a clarifying shampoo for blondes, not only because it's what I use, but because it's really good for makeup brushes. This is the Daddy-O shampoo from Lush, and the way you do that is you rinse the brush under the water, put the product in your hand, swirl it around, being gentle, and then rinse it out as well. It's all kind of the same deal. Basically, if you've ever heard of a deep clean for your brushes, that is using a shampoo and water. And if you've ever heard of a spritz clean or a dry clean or a disinfectant for your brushes, that is the method with the makeup remover or the alcohol. So super easy, that's how you do it. Hope that helped you guys, and let me know in the comments down below if you have any tips or tricks for looking after your makeup brushes and how this video helped you. Don't forget to subscribe and you'll see me next time. Okay, love you guys.